Good morning, everyone, and welcome to BGL's Simple Fun 360 webinar for July 2022. My name's Luca. I'm one of the business development managers of BGL, and I'll be taking you through our SMSF cloud-based compliance platform. Just a bit of background on Simple Fun 360 and a bit of history. So BGL started off in the self-managed super fund administration space in the early to mid 90s with Simple Fun Desktop. With all of the move towards cloud-based technology in the industry, we developed Simple Fun 360 back in 2014. So the system's been going strong for 8 years. In that time, we're able to add just over 250,000 self-managed super funds to the platform. So we're the most used platform in Australia. We're constantly updating the system, and the ability to do so being a cloud-based platform allows us to do this on a monthly basis compared to previously on our desktop platform doing this quarterly or semi-annually. In the past 12 months, we were able to add just over 200 new feature updates to the platform, which is a great achievement by all of our developers. What I'll be covering off on in this demo is our artificial intelligence, and I'll explain to you what that means when that comes to matching transactions and also bringing in data from bank statements. Our analytical insights, giving users the ability to filter down into intricate data sets regarding contributions, pension amounts, total super balance, etc. Document management and where we're moving towards in that document management space, which is really exciting. Our corporate actions, all corporate actions come directly through from the ASX and other exchanges around the world. Our annual tax statement tool, so we have support for, I believe, over 300 to 400 different securities, bringing through the annual tax statement at the end of the year. Our T-bar management, so we know how important it is to keep track of the total super balance, and if any events happen throughout the financial year, we really need to notify the ATO of those events, and we can do that through our T-bar management dashboard, and also lodge those T-bar files directly, not directly, but prepare the T-bar files and then upload them to the ATO portal. The real benefit of Simple Fun 360 and what we've really focused on over the past 8 years has really been around bringing through and connecting with as many data feed platforms as possible. And what that really means is getting the data into the platform in a frictionless way through banks, through broker feeds, and also through our wraps and platforms. We can see here we've also included 98% registry coverage through Computer Share, Link, and Boardroom, which I'll touch on. We've got integrations with XPM and Zero HQ 2A integration, and also Zero Tax. So if you want to import the tax return, or basically push it across to Zero Tax and lodge it through there to have all of your tax lodgements in the one place, we do allow you to do that. And then Engaged by BGL, just giving your clients or the trustees of the fund a more up-to-date view of how their fund's currently performing. However, that really relies upon the data that we're bringing into the platform, which we're working towards to be as up-to-date as possible. What I'll do now is I'll go and commence the demo. So we'll go into Simple Fun 360. So being a fully cloud-based platform, we're able to access the system either through pretty much in any internet browser. So Google Chrome, Safari, Mozilla is completely fine. We can see here you just need to log in with your unique username and password. So each user will have their own username and password. It is all linked to multi-factor authentication. So when each user logs in, to create that extra layer of protection for your client's data, we've implemented a 30-day multi-factor authentication protocol. This can be done either through SMS or Authenticator app, which is fine. We've also got single sign-on with Google and Xero. So if you're using Google, the Google Suite or Xero, you can log in as a single sign-on. All of the data for BGL is hosted on Amazon Web Services, probably the most widely used data storage facility in Australia. So all the data centers are hosted in Sydney, New South Wales. So there are 3 large data centers that are in New South Wales where our data is hosted, and one coming up in Melbourne, Victoria soon. Once you log into the platform, we're constantly bringing up information about what's happening with Simple Fund 360. So we can see here automatically a splash screen's popped up with our Simple Fund 360 Education Week that is coming up on the 25th to the 29th of July. With Simple Fund 360, we really want users to be making the most out of this platform and really using it to the best of its potential. And the way we do that is bringing out these different webinars and these sessions with users to show them the new updates that we've just released and the tips and tricks on how to use the platform in the most efficient manner. We'll just go and close that. Once we log in, it will bring us into our entity workflow screen where all of our funds that we're currently administering will show. We can see here information regarding our funds, what tags with what financial year that they are currently in, labels that we can assign and profile to each of our funds, giving us more information when we're going and processing. So some of the examples that I can give are workflow indicators. So where they're currently at in terms of the workflow, if they're currently we're processing the transactions, if we're currently doing the accounting work papers, if it's ready for audit. These are some examples of labels that we can add. Some other ones could potentially be, if you've got different users who manage different funds at your practice, you can assign a user label. We do have electronic signing support within Simple Fund 360 with DocuSign, Adobe Sign, Fuse Sign, and Please Sign. So if you are using any of those 4 providers, you can link it to the platform and have your letters and minutes, a tax return, engagement letters signed electronically through Simple Fund 360. We do understand that some of your clients may not be comfortable with electronic signing. So this may be another label that you can add on to our labels. So if they're comfortable, if they're happy with electronic signing or not. These are just some examples that I can give for labels that you can add. We can see on the left-hand side here, we have filters that we can filter through. So we have, registered for GST, what trustee type is it? So if it's an individual or corporate trustee, when was the trust deed last modified? And, do we need to follow them up, in 2 years or 3 years to get that deed looked at? Members with life insurance statuses. So, if the members are currently with life insurance, this can maybe help in different business services that you're offering, what the lodgement status is on our funds. And then we have some compliance indicators and filters that we've inbuilt into the platform. So concessional contribution caps, non-concessional contribution caps that you can filter through different pension funds, so what pension types they are, account-based, TRIS, or market linked. So you can go through and filter down with all your funds and see which funds meet those different parameters that you're selecting. If you want to see a fund at a quick view, and what you can do is you can select this drop down into more information. So if I click more information here on this Masterclass 2022 webinar fund, we can see the entity details, corporate trustee, the people in the fund, so the members, the auditors, the accountant, directors, other members, and then we've got information regarding our pension income streams. So we've got Charity here and Jenny. We can see the age of our members. We can see what type of pension income stream that they have, what their tax-free percentages are. We automatically calculate the member minimums and drawdowns, and we show the current balances. So you have all this information at your fingertips that you can go through and view as a quick view. We can also see contribution data, so where we're at in terms of our contribution caps for each of our accumulation members. If I go in and select, so let's just say I want to go and prepare the financials for Masterclass 2022 webinar fund. I just need to click on that fund. It brings us into our fund dashboard screen. We see all of our information up the top here regarding the fund. We can see that our SuperStream status. So BGL has full support for SuperStream. We have our own ESA that you can provide to the trustees to provide to their employers. We do have full support for contributions through SuperStream, rollovers, and release authorities. So you can do your rollovers directly in Simple Fund 360. We allow you to update a copy of the trust deed into the platform for your records. You can also share the fund with the auditor and the trustees. Further down, we can see 4 different workflow steps that we have included into the platform, or these are basically just notifications that you'll need when preparing the financials or preparing your funds. So we've got our transactions. So we've got 2 unmatched transactions that we can go through and allocate to the chart of accounts. We've got accounting work papers that are inbuilt into the system. So we can see we've got 5 to do for this particular 5 accounts to do for this particular fund. We can see if all of our data feeds have matched or reconciled with the banks. And also we have client query, which allows you to query specific transactions that you can't recognize. You can send SMS or emails to the trustees with a bit of information about that transaction so they can help you identify what that is. Further down is our investment dashboard. So our fund dashboard just gives us some information regarding the total closing balance of the fund, the breakdown of different investment classes and the performance in the last 30 days. We also have on the right-hand side here different notes that we can add in to the fund, showing us different tasks that we have to complete and if they're completed or not. Further down is relationships. We have member information and the breakdown, and also data feed dashboards as well. What I might do is I'll go into transactions, but if you want to navigate through each fund, it's really done on the left-hand side here on our toolbar. But as we can see, we've got some transactions that we need to go and fix up. So by clicking on transactions, it will bring us into our Smart General Ledger. Okay, our Smart General Ledger allows us to go through and edit particular transactions by just selecting them. We can see here, we've maintained double entry accounting to make it as easy as possible for new users and accountants that have been using platforms that maintain that debit and credit. What you can do is you can make any changes to this particular transaction and save. We have support for journal entries as well. So some platforms don't allow you to add journal entries. We've maintained that ability so you can journal in and out of different accounts. Our transaction list is predominantly for keeping track of all of our transactions. It isn't a place where you will go through and match and the transactions from cash to the chart of accounts. That's where we created our smart matching screen. Just navigate in our top left-hand corner here, smart matching. We can see once we've clicked on smart matching, it's brought up all of the accounts in the fund. So we have different cryptocurrency accounts. We've got CBA international brokerage accounts, our ANZ main account. So we have all this information that is at our fingertips. We can see that the system, if our bank feeds were active and running, it would reconcile on a daily basis with the balance in Simple Fund 360 to what that balance is on the bank account. I'll go into our CBA international account because I want to show you the extent of the platform really utilizing that artificial intelligence of reading bank statements. So there are a couple of ways to bring in data to Simple Fund 360. So one of the ways is, and probably the most efficient way, is via the bank feeds, okay, at a small additional cost, and I'll go through the pricing towards the end. Bringing through bank feeds is probably the most efficient method of bringing through cash transactions into the fund. Secondly is CSV import. So we have full support for CSVs. If you can retrieve a CSV from your clients, you can drag and drop it into this field here, and it will add all of those transactions to our table below. Thirdly is our, so I'll just clear this. Thirdly is our data entry spreadsheet. So you can go through and add in transactions manually. So if you've got the bank statement with you, you can just go and add in the date, debit and credit, and description. We don't recommend that. We're trying to move users as far away as manual data entry as possible. We do understand some banks do not have support for bank feeds and they just constantly refuse to have that support. That's where we created a workaround. In our bottom left-hand corner here, we've got drop or browse files. Okay, and this is where we're able to, so I'll just show you what this will look like before I dump it in. So we've got here a international CBA broker account. So we can even notice here, even on the date, it's using the US date format. We've got the security details here. So the security codes, we're Apple, Insure, Tesla, Alibaba that's showing. We've got the description on the bank statement. So if it's like different fees, dividends, buys and sells, and then we've got the net amount that is showing on towards the far right. What I can do is now drag that or select it into Simple Fund 360 here. I'll just click on open and then confirm. The system is now smart enough to read each transaction on that statement and translate it across to our table on the left-hand side. This is something that may have taken you, 30 minutes to 45 minutes to go through and type in all those transactions, plus change the date formats. And as you know, with this US bank account, all of these net amounts are in USD. So you'd have to go through and do the currency conversion for each of those line items there. That's where we bring through currency, the exchange rates. from the RBA at the end of each day. So we have support for multiple different FX rates, and we'll just click on USD here, and we can see the platform has automatically converted the USD amounts into Australian dollars. Once we're happy with that, we go into the bottom right hand corner and we just click create. In terms of this example, I have created entries, so it's not going to allow me to add in those transactions. However, if I go into compliance under our period compliance here, I just can reverse these transactions, reverse entries here, and see if it will allow me to prepare. Here we go. Okay. So once, if you're in the correct financial year, the system will allow you to hit create, okay, in the bottom right-hand corner here. It will add all of those transactions in our table below with the date showing on that statement, the description, and the net amount towards our far right. We can see in the middle here, we have this column called predicted chart or rule. What that is, it is the system using pattern recognition to basically read each description that's come through, recognize if that particular description has come through at a past date, and make an educated guess on where it believes that that transaction needs to be allocated to. The system will even give a percentage, a confidence rating. So we've got different percentages here with the confidence of the system showing where it needs to be allocated to. And that obviously diminishes as the system cannot recognize that particular transaction. In order to go through and match up these transactions and add them into our Smart General Ledger, the transaction list, we can either click on match. So I can go into here. We can see it's automatically selected ResMed for us for this dividend. It will bring through the franked and unfranked amounts and the franking credits, given if it's listed on the ASX or not. And then we just can hit match. Okay. Other transactions, so for example, this super choice contribution that we've got here, the system's pretty confident that it is a contribution. Just hit review. We can select one of our members that contribution applies for. We have all the information regarding, what component that contribution needs to be allocated to. And if you don't want to spend time going through and reviewing those transactions in the future, you can set up a rule in the system to allocate 100% of that amount when this particular description comes through to Donald here. And then we can hit create and match transactions. You can split it between different members as well. And then we just hit match. So that's basically going through and matching all of our transactions. We can do it in bulk. So if you want to hit all of them at once and just click multiple match, you can do that. If you want to have an account view and see the trial balance, okay, you can quickly go into the account view and see the different accounts and filter through each line item that we've entered into the platform for reconciliation purposes. So once we've gone through and we've matched all of our transactions, we can go into our investments. Okay, investments is quite important because this is where we'll be completing all of our corporate actions. However, if I just click on investments here, it'll bring us into our balance review. Our balance review is when we are reconciling against the registry. So we have support for Computershare Link and Boardroom, like I mentioned earlier, where the system will go through. If you put in the hidden postcodes for all of the securities within this particular fund, it will bring in that data and reconcile it directly with the registry and the ledger in Simple Fund 360. Okay, so if you go through and add in all that data, so we can see here below, Westpac, Woolworths, Xero, Vocus Group, and we can see some have discrepancies. So we may have sold those shares and it hasn't come through into Simple Fund 360 yet, or vice versa. This screen cannot be edited in any way, shape, or form. So the auditor can also rely upon our balance review screen for completing their audit, meaning you no longer have to log into the registries and reconcile against the holdings anymore. If I go across from left to right, we can see our investment dashboard. So this is just some information if you want to give your clients access to see how their fund is performing. You can see investment performance history, what the different breakdown of the investment class or investment types they have, the income market gain, and the total performance of their particular fund. We have its time-weighted performance dashboard, which shows in percentage terms how the fund is currently performing with different assets. I click on 5 years just to spread it out as much as possible. We can see where those investments and how they are performing, and it will do a breakdown of each security within each category we have here. Then if I click on investment strategy, we can see how the investment allocation percentages are fitting in with our investment strategies. So you can use this for preparing the investment strategies and having meetings with your clients. If I go further towards the end here, we've got our corporate actions, and this is really important when finishing off and completing the fund and finalizing it. We bring through corporate actions from DRPs to code class changes, share splits, takeover mergers. So we're constantly updating and improving support for our corporate actions and allowing you to make this process as efficient as possible. We can see here with our ANZ dividend reinvestment plan, we can either ignore or we can process. I'll just ignore that one, but we'll process this CSR. It will bring through announcement details directly from the ASX, and we can go through and it will automatically pre-fill all the relevant details for us to process that DRP. Once we've gone and we've processed all of our corporate actions, we just can jump into compliance and go into distribution tax automation. This will allow us to see if any of the securities that we're currently holding in this fund have received an annual tax statement. If they have, we can see a lightning bolt on the left-hand side here. So we can go and click on generate tax data, and it will pre-fill the cash distribution and all the tax amounts for us. You can have even drag and drop a copy of that annual tax statement for your accounting work papers as well, which will flow through, and I'll show you how they work shortly. You can generate and mark as reviewed as well. Let's say our system does not have support for some securities that you currently the funds are investing in. What you can do is you can use our email address up the top here, distributionstatements@bglcorp.com.au. Send the annual tax statement to us, obviously blank out any sensitive information, and we will add in all of the tax components for you, so you don't have to go and manually enter them. If you did perhaps want to go through and manually enter those details, all you need to do is click on this cogwheel here, which says custom tax data, and you can go through and add the cash distribution into the system here. You can even go through, and I know a lot of tax statements show at a 50% individual rate, but you can go and show the 2/3 for self-managed super funds. Once you've gone through and you've prepared all of your, you've generated the tax data for your annual tax statements, all we need to do is go into member. Okay, this is where we can see all the data for all of our members, where they're currently at in terms of their different income streams. So we've got accumulation members, 4 different pension income streams here. Okay, but we can go into fund pension policies. So for example, if this fund does require an actuarial certificate, we do have integration set up with 10 different actuarials, which you can go through. So I'll just use a Curium for an example here. Click on next. It will ask you if the fund is eligible for different methods, and you can just click submit to actuary, and using our API, all of the fund data will be pushed through to that provider, and within a few minutes, they'll get back to you or input a percentage into Simple Fund 360. We have the ability for segregation. So if you've got any funds that are segregated, you can add in a segregation policy, and we have our transfer balance dashboard. So if any events have occurred throughout the financial year, so maybe a pension commencement, computation, we can basically go in and prepare our T-bar form here. And if I click on global view, it will allow me to prepare the T-bar file for, we go prepare T-bar, we'll go into outstanding. It will allow us to click prepare T-bar. So we can go through and prepare that information. We need to select the lodging party. Okay. Click prepare T-bar, and it will prepare the file that you can use and then upload to the ATO. SuperStream registration, like I mentioned, all funds can be registered for SuperStream using the BGL ESA. If I click on SuperStream dashboard here, we can go in and prepare rollovers for our funds. So if I go into all funds, okay, we can go through and register these funds, and we do prepare the notification letters that you can then send through to the trustees to then send to the employers. If I go into fund view, okay, it will allow us to go through and see SuperStream contributions, prepare SuperStream rollovers and release authorities. Okay, so if I want to go through and select here. Fund view. It will allow us to go and request that authority and prepare the rollover. Now what we can do is go into compliance. Okay, so this is where we complete the end of year. So you just click create entries or allocate profit and loss to members. You can set up depreciation schedules within the platform. So if you do have property, investment properties, and you wanted to set up a schedule for depreciation, you can go through very easily. You click new asset, type in the details, put in the depreciation method, the rate, the open written down value, etc., and then hit save. What that will allow us to do is every year we can go in here, select the schedule, and click post depreciation, and it will post the journals to our transaction list. Once that's completed and we've created entries, we go into tax compliance, and it will fully prepare the SMSF tax return for us. We are constantly updating this tax return in accordance with the ATO. So it is all up to date and compliant. You will then validate that tax return with the ATO to make sure it passes all their validation requirements, and then this button will turn blue and it will say lodge, and you'll be able to lodge that directly to the ATO using BGL's SBR lodgement. If you're lodging everything through Zero Tax, it will show up just beside this lodgement button, which it will turn into, that will say export to Zero. And you just can click on.
So we download all the forms and you can lodge your BAS directly through the platform. And also we have the PAYG payment summaries lodgement that is coming very, very soon into the platform. So you'll be able to
the payment summaries here. I'll go into reports. I'll show you how to prepare an end of financial year set of reports. So once you click on reports, we can see on our left-hand side here, we group each report into categories just to make it easy for you to navigate through the platform as possible. I have a report pack that I've already created. It's called End of Financial Year 2022. I might just clear that off and I'll show you how to create one. So we can just go into financial reports here, and by clicking on these arrows, we're able to build a report pack on our right-hand side. All reports can be fully customized with your logos on them. So you can go through and download them to Word, Excel, or PDF, depending on what sort of report they are. You can format them in settings. So we've got different formats that you can add. And then we've got our digital signing, which I mentioned earlier, through DocuSign, Adobe Sign, Fuse Sign, and Please Sign. Whichever one you are using, you can hook that up to Simple Fund 360 to have your letters and minutes or your tax return signed. Once you're happy with this report pack, you can go in and give it a name. Okay, so it will allow us to save or allow us to save this report pack. Ooh. My apologies. So we've got our report back here, and we just hit save new report back in the top right hand corner there, and it'll ask us to give it a name. What that allows us to do is when we're preparing a set of reports across all of our funds, we don't need to go through and select all of those reports again. We just click select report pack, end of financial year 2022, and it'll bring up all those reports for us. We have support for audit reports. So if the auditor, when they log in, 53 different letters and minutes. So we're constantly updating all of these reports to support as many as possible. We have our interactive accounting work papers inbuilt into the platform. So you're able to generate your work papers, add a preparer and a reviewer, hit generate. It will basically dump the trial balance. It will generate all of our reports, give us statuses on each report if they've been started or not. You're able to refresh the work papers at any time, okay? And they will update the statuses if they need a rework required. You're able to notify the reviewer if they need to, if the entity is ready for a review or if a rework has been complete, and to review again. You're able to export all the work papers as a schedule, including your notes and also different documents that you've added. So if I go into, for example, distributions received. We can go in here and we can see our two distributions that have come in. We've got the current year balance and last year's balance, and it will show if there's been a change. Very easy if you want to upload a copy of the source document. You can go through and drag and drop that from your files. If you've already uploaded it at some point in the platform to that particular transaction, it will flow through into your work papers, which is great. Once it's been attached, okay, it will add into the work papers when you export them. You've got your general ledger here and different supporting documents, your standard checklists. You can add additional checklists and you can put in notes. We've also added documents, our document screen, and our document screen has become quite sophisticated in terms of you're able to filter through different accounts and you're able to see different documents that are allocated and basically allocated to each account. So we can see here for dividends, we've got 11 different source documents that have been added, and these all relate to each of these securities that we have in here. Once we've gone and we've lodged our tax return, you can go into connections and you can go into our lodgement dashboard and view all the lodgements that you've completed in the platform for each financial year, going all the way back to 2018. I think the last year that you can lodge a tax return in Simple Fund 360 was 2014. So I'll go all the way back to 2014. You have the ability to also connect the platform to various different feeds through our feed management screen. And this is where you can navigate through bank feeds, share data, broker feeds, and wraps and platforms. Very, very easy to go through and set up each feed. We have authority forms that we print off and you just need to upload them back into the platform. In terms of our support, so BGL's support team is based in Melbourne, Victoria at our head office. You can log a support call directly through the platform by clicking on this phone icon in the top right-hand corner. We also have live chat, so we have support consultants who sit on the live chat and will answer any questions that you may have that you need help with. We have our BGL help and our knowledge center. So if you click on getting started, it will bring you to our knowledge center that you can go through and type in any query that you may have and anything that you want to learn. And we will have all of our different categories here that if you want to go through and learn the platform, you can. If I jump back into my PowerPoint, we'll go through pricing. We've touched on support and learning. So we've got our support team, different webinars that we're currently bringing out, our BGL Education Week. Our pricing starts at $110 excluding GST, so $121 including. We sell in lots of 5 funds. I've actually changed that very recently. So it's a minimum of 5 funds and you can go up by 1 fund at a time. So, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And same goes for our bank feed add-ons. So if you do want to add on bank feeds for each of your funds, just subscribe to the bank feed add-on for $40 excluding GST. And that's the same principle. So minimum of 5, and then you just go up by 1. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like it mentioned, it includes unlimited bank accounts per fund. So you can have up to as many bank accounts per fund as you like, as long as they're supported. and unlimited transactions. Our smart docs that I showed you with uploading a copy of the bank statement is included in our base 110 package here on the left. So if some bank accounts aren't supported, you can just upload those bank statements for free. And then we have our share data pack add-on. So our share data pack add-on is if you have funds that are perhaps trading shares on a regular basis and you want to bring through the buys and the sells from the broker. So if you want to bring those through with the registry data included, so the Computershare Lincoln Boardroom Registry, it's an additional $40 per fund per annum. If you have any questions or you liked what you saw today, please get in touch with us at our head office. That's our phone number, the 1300, or feel free to send me through an email at luca@bglcorp.com.au. What we can do in terms of helping you set up your funds on the platform is we have our BGL client success team, which will set up all of your funds as a complimentary service, okay, for a limited time only. So get in touch with us if you do have your funds on another software provider, or you're still doing them manually through Excel and just a ledger platform. Get in touch with us. We'll go through the process of what's involved in setting up all of your funds on Simple Fund 360. And hopefully you're able to streamline and make your SMSF administration process as efficient as possible.
I want to thank you again for your time, and hopefully you enjoyed the presentation. And again, if you have any questions, please let us know.